So Madeline got me this book called 1,000 Acres by Jane Smiley. And everything that I went through reading this book is Madeline's fault.
I would
And
like to say that
I
I
hate
didn't
her.
read what it was about. I had no idea, but I know you like books set in Iowa, and it's one of the few. So I should have read what it was about.
It's not a bad book. It's just like emotionally, it's too much for me to handle. So I think it's the winner. Oh, it is the winner of the Pulitzer Prize. I can't talk. It's not surprise. And it's a signed book. So that was really nice. It's set in Iowa, so it's part of my Iowa series. But this book is emotionally draining. And it's a well-written book, but the roller coaster is like too much. So the basic premise, with no spoilers, is there are these three sisters in Iowa, and they grew up on a farm in like east central Iowa. Like it's not exactly Muscatine, but it like they name the cities, they're real cities. It's around over there, right? And they grow up on a farm. Their mom dies when they're young, and their dad is this like emotionally stunted old farmer. And they grow up in this old farming community, and everyone is everyone. I mean, like you guys know, it's like a little exaggerated, but it's a lot like the like neighborhoods we grew up in, right? It's a lot of like caring about the weather, right? And it's too wet because they have to get the crops out of the field, or it's not raining enough. And like everyone's just all over the place. Everybody helps each other out, like goes over to everyone else's houses. The wife makes breakfast in the morning for all the guys that are there to help. Like it's just like a very much emphasis on farming community. And so it kind of goes through their life as these girls are like adults, and it's everything that they go through like together with their dad getting older and then like taking over the farm, but also like their dynamic between the three of them, because they're all like have become very different. The oldest sister like gets married to some guy, lives across the street from her dad on her dad's farm, and is like married with two kids. The other sister is married, also lives like nearby on the dad's farm in a different house, that can't have kids, and went through like these horrible like miscarriages and experiences and stuff. And then the third daughter becomes like a lawyer and moves to Des Moines. So there's this weird dynamic where the younger sister kind of like frowns upon the older sisters and kind of feels like they're stuck and not treating their dad correctly, even though she's not there and helping. And it's just like everything that they go through and how much they fight and how they like come to terms with everything. It's a lot. I'm not gonna I feel like I want to give you guys like the biggest spoiler, because it's like you think through all this stuff and you think there's going to be some redeeming thing at the end of the book, but it's not. Just like more bad shit happens to them.
Did this hit a little close to home?
No, it's just like there's so much bad stuff that happens to them. Like, and it doesn't get better at the end. Can I tell you guys? Are you guys gonna read it, or do you care if I tell you? Like,
No, I don't like crying books.
oh my god,
I might read it, but you can still spoil it.
the worst part of the whole book is like you think it's gonna get better, you think it's gonna get better. It's with them losing the farm.
Oh my god.
No. Why?
1,000-acre farm that's been in their family for 3 generations. And the bank takes it at the end.
God.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So that's how it ends. I was like, I didn't cry through any of it, but I was just like, my heart felt like heavy with like each chapter. And I'd read it and Brian would be like, what's wrong with you? Like, why are you in such a bad mood? And I'd be like, they lost the farm. It's gone.
Liz starts checking into Scott's finances.
Oh my gosh, what did you rate it?
I don't know, because it's real. So I struggled, right? It kind of reminds me of John's book that he picked, where it's like
Blood Meridian.
Blood Meridian, yeah. It's really well written and it's good and it's important, right? It's just like I could not read it again though, because like I feel like heavy, like having read it. So I also feel like someone who maybe like didn't grow up like on a farm maybe doesn't think like losing the farm isn't that like traumatic as I would. So maybe it's not so bad.
Did the author grow up in Iowa? The way you described the book, like, it seems to be very accurate.
Yeah. Some of she does kind of exaggerate like the farming community. Like some of it's like a little cliche, but a lot of it's good. It says she grew up in the Midwest, but I don't know where in the Midwest.
It is nice to have books written about Iowa. I mean, a lot of, if you're not from there, it's hard to know what it's exactly like or why some people are the way they are.
Yeah, it's very interesting. It's hard. That book should have like 5 trigger warnings on it, by the way.
I do like how Fourth Wing has warnings at the front. I haven't seen that in another book. Did you read that?
No.
About Fourth Wing,
I have it right here.
like trigger warnings in the front is like this book contains X, Y, and Z. Like
that's nice.
Laura
Oh,
Olympus
yeah.
has that, but it's a webtoon.
What one was that?
Laura Olympus.
Oh,
That's a
It's a
good
webtoon.
Well,
highly recommend.
Don't know if I'll read this one. It sounds very sad. But maybe if I'm feeling exceptionally just sad and want a good cry, I'll pick that one up.
There's a lot to unpack. I'm glad I read it. We'll probably not read again. Seriously, 1,000-acre farm. Can you imagine?
Dude, what land right now in Iowa is like what, 8 to 10,000 an acre?
God, I have no idea.
That's a huge farm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's massive. That's like a real farm, like
Not a hobby farm.
I
Yeah.
recently watched this show. It's like how, like the foods that built America, but it's more of like the machines that built America. And one of the episodes, have you guys seen it?
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's good. One of the episodes focuses on like tractors and how they got started, and then how like one of the farmers went from just like crop farming to like being the only producer of like potatoes for McDonald's, and how then it started this new branch of farming from like instead of just crop farming, like farming for like industries almost. It was kind of cool.
That's interesting. I'll have to watch that.
There's some crazy ones, like the people behind us, they have like their combine is like on tracks. Like it's massive.
Wow.
And they go like 50 miles an hour, I feel like, when they're like going around. I'm like, oh my God, it's huge.
They must have a big farm.
Yeah, I think they do. They're like those people that have a bunch of small farms everywhere. Because behind us, it's not very big. And then the people north of us do like antique farming. So all their tractors are super freaking old as hell.
Oh.
Why do they do
interesting. I don't know. It's a really old guy, so I think it's probably what he's just had. But yeah, like they cut hay with this really old looking thing. And it's broke like every day.
that?
Like, oh my God. It's like the weirdest looking thing. I'm like, that is really old.
Send us a picture.
Yeah. I think I might have a video of him.
You have cool neighbors, an antique farmer, and you also have a honey farmer.
Beekeeper.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Honey farmer. Is that a thing?
Oh.
I don't know. He
he
has like a huge
honey?
shop where he like does all his stuff. It's really cool. And they have this thing where you can go to like mini farms around, like hobby farms. It's like Jasper County something days or whatever, but you can like tour them, and we always go over and like chat with them and check out the building and stuff. But it's really cool. I'm like, oh my God.
I love the candle you got me. I will never burn it, but it's on my bookshelf.
He has many more.
What?
Yeah. He has tons of those. Like he has ones that look like a bear. Mine looks like a honeycomb, the one I have in the bathroom.
Love it. And that's 1,000 acres. If you want to increase your therapy bill, you should read this.
Love it.